I'll tell you about Wild Bastards. Wild Bastards is a kind of spiritual successor to Void Bastards by the same team, Blue Manchu.
Also an Australian team.
Yeah, not fully, but absolutely. There's Australian design and dev behind this. And it is a rogue light strategy shooter. In a world where games cannot be one thing, this is at least three. And
It's always crossed with something, isn't it? It's a
always
roguelike,
crossed.
but it's also Dark Souls, but it's also Monopoly.
It's so many ideas, but it does have
Game is
a fantastic cold open in meeting some of these bastards who are basically bounty hunters. A band of bounty hunters with individual skills has been almost eradicated to a man. There are two of you left on the run from some big bad Wild West family. And as you kind of come into this world, it's these two final bastards trying to escape. And there's just a great writing and banter as they kind of set out into the West to flee from the family that's chasing them. And you, at the end of this cold open, come to realize that you are going to be able to revive the other mercenaries who are part of your crew, and that is the game. So it is a rogue light, but it is a narrative campaign. And so if you enjoyed kind of like the run concept of Void Bastards, it still has a bit of that, but it is very much a narrative-driven concept. And the idea is to unlock all of the bastards, all of your compadres, and take them on runs that are getting more complicated as you're getting deeper into the story. So basically, the story is kind of gated by the characters that you're unlocking along the way.
That's a great idea. I find so much with roguelikes is just I run it a few times and I'm like, I can see where this is going to go, and I can kind of, and then I stop playing them. But it sounds like the story may pull you through a bit more with
I
this.
100% agree. I'm not a roguelite person for that very reason, where I'm like, I kind of understand the idea enough early on, and then I'm like, I don't really feel like grinding out the rest of the game now that I know where it's headed.
It's good for a plane ride though, like a Sunday afternoon. I feel when
Absolutely.
when you're watching something else at the same time. Those
Totally.
kinds of games.
The other interesting part of this game is that it is multiple games in one. It has kind of like a FTL space map as you're fleeing the baddies that are chasing you. So you can kind of choose how to navigate through a system based on the resources that are going to be available at individual nodes. So you make those decisions and then you jump to that place. And then...
Isn't this a shooter? I thought it was a shooter.
Not yet. Not
When's
yet.
it going to be a shooter?
There's more layers before it's a shooter. So this is the roguelite part of it, is that you kind of get mods to equip on the characters, and they get reset every jump. So you'll do a galaxy and then they'll reset. So you're still leveling up and you are getting permanent upgrades to your characters, but the things that have a real effect on the gameplay are these mods, and you might get a really lucky roll in a galaxy that makes you basically invulnerable, or actually invulnerable in some circumstances, and you got a really cruisy walk through whatever that galaxy is, and then all of a sudden you jump, you unlock a new character, you jump to the next place, you lose all that gear, and it's kind of, okay, reset, re-strategize, rethink how I'm going to approach this, and which outlaws I want to take. So, space map, jump to a node, and then you choose which outlaws you want to send to the next strategy map, which is where the resources are available.
Gus looks confused, and I feel inside.
No,
the
keep
way
going,
Gus
keep
looks.
going.
Keep
No, I
going.
get it.
Sounds interesting though.
Every galaxy, you're going to unlock an outlaw, and then you're going to progress the story. You're going to unlock that character, progress the story. If you fail, it just resets to the start of that galaxy.
Okay.
When you choose a node, you're going for the resources that you think will be the most valuable to get you through the galaxy to unlock that outlaw. And so then you jump onto the map, which has combat nodes, it has upgrade nodes, and combat nodes play out like this.
Fuck yeah.
Combat nodes are a first-person shooter.
Yes.
Real time. This is the only thing in real time.
These games are always so complicated unless you've played it for like a few hours, and the more you
Totally.
play, like
Yeah. Then you're like,
trying
I
to
understand
describe it.
everything
So
about
you
this
did a great
game.
job, Pete,
Little
but,
shooter arena? Yeah.
So you jump in. Every combat node has a little. I think procedurally generated,
looks that way.
tiny little procedurally generated nodes. Maybe they're designed, and I haven't seen all of them yet. But they don't feel particularly beautifully designed. They're kind of just there,
random.
and because they're a third of the game, it doesn't feel undercooked.
Sure.
And because you
Thought
take
it was
in,
the whole game. That's fine.
it is not at all the whole game. It is just a part of it. This is most of the game here. Deciding where to move on the chessboard, and it basically has action points that you spend when you're in this
cool.
mode. You spend your action points, you take turns, and there's a countdown timer. It's like a board game. I'm explaining all the rules to a board game right now, and everyone is falling asleep.
I'm getting drunk.
It's okay. I've had 2 coffees and half a Red Bull.
and when you
so I'm
take
awake.
3 steps, you move the counter towards
these are-
when the
Hang on, you don't need these. I'm
family
going to give these to Steve. He needs 5
Does anyone
beans.
need a drink? Does anyone cheese? Do we need more cheese on the table? Dinner's probably half an hour away, but does anyone want more cheese before the dinner? And so
cheese.
you are playing against Nightfall, and Nightfall is when the family that's chasing you rock up into these maps.
I
They don't
see.
attack you in the galaxy map. They attack you in the land overworld map, and then you will fight them in a first-person combat scenario if they catch you on the land map. So basically, you're trying to collect resources as quickly as possible and then get the hell out of Dodge.
I get your FTL comparison a little bit.
Yeah.
The way you're explaining.
Yeah, so it is like it is managing resources to jump to the next galaxy to unlock the next outlaw to progress the story.
Is it all enjoyable? All these little.
Yeah, it really is. And
mechanics
like this
and
is so
gameplay
not a
points?
game that I look at on the surface and go, that's a Peter game. But all of it works really beautifully. It's really clear when you're playing it, even if I'm doing a bad job of explaining it.
Not at all. It's just there's a lot more there than I was like, hey, Peter, you should play this game. It looks like a cool shooter on Monday. And I'm like, the fuck is this?
And the more you unlock, the more enjoyable it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that's great.
Like when
They've
you
got the
start to
good
get
loop then. Good
Yeah, it's
gameplay.
really cool. When you start to unlock the permanent upgrades for your outlaws, you start to fall in love with the particular play style that each of them have because they do play differently. Just not just different weapons, but every outlaw has a different super ability.
That was my
is
question.
useful.
You're choosing which bastard or you're going into these combat zones with, and they will have different
At
weapons.
a minimum, you can send two of your outlaws down. At a maximum, so far I've seen you can send 4 down, but I think you can send 8 down in really
Are they
complex
running around
maps.
as AI controlled? Or
No, you control everyone. So you pair them
out
up.
again.
So if there's 8 on the ground, you can have 4 pairs of 2, and then you send pairs into combat. So you want to
This is the part of the
synergize.
board game discussion where I'd be on my phone.
Totally.
looking up YouTube videos.
I know it's getting deeper. It's getting deeper.
But when
Buckle
it's a
the fuck
shooter,
up.
are you taking one of those characters
Yes.
around?
However, one and you are the other one, and you can instantly hot swap to the other one of that pair, which
Like
is why
Zenless and Zero.
the pairing is important
Right.
because you want to pair.
Complement each other.
They
Bingo.
complement each other, and
So many
Synergize.
layers.
okay,
So many
wrinkle,
layers of strategy.
wrinkle.
Jeez.
Okay, on the spaceship, there's banter, and again, this is where the writing is really fun and interesting. These characters fall in and out of friendship with each other and
okay.
refuse to go
That's
to
fantastic.
that map together.
That's great.
Unless you collect a resource that allows them to mend their relationship on the ship.
Oh, I love this. I love when
So it's
characters just start bitching at each other.
It's
and like, Come on,
amazing.
guys, we're trying to get
And
through
the
this
item
together.
is a trip to the bathroom while drunk together.
The item is actually a can of beans. It's a can of beans. You got to
Can
share.
of beans?
You got to
Can of
mend your
beans.
relationship over a can of beans.
That's
but
how
yes,
they solve
you
problems in the West.
you might
Yeah, we
have
did a lot of that in DayZ. A lot of saving of problems.
That's true.
Solving
The-
of problems with a can of beans.
the beans were always a savior, weren't they? So yeah,
This
you
is
might
wild.
synergize based on the mods that you have. That 2 characters are going to play well together, and then you finish a node and they have a fight.
I love
and
how
you're
much
like,
there is
shit.
to think about.
Now I
with
need to go and
this.
get beans so that when I get to the harder part of this galaxy,
Oh shit!
I can mend their relationship.
They hate each other. Now I gotta go
and
get
it's not even okay. It goes a little deeper than that.
Oh my god!
They can be-
beans.
They can be not friends and refusing to go to land together. They can be neutral, or they can be double beaned, and double beaning them means that they have a pal relationship, which unlocks a special synergy between the 2 characters.
Oh my god. Just
It's
through beans.
insane.
I'm gonna get
Always
you to
go double
roll for
beans.
beans, please.
See,
Pete.
I have double beans and I just fought.
Is it?
I noticed.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
If you have a question, the answer is yes. This thing is everything.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. It's literally wild.
It's wild.
Are the
Okay.
synergies really useful? You need to pay attention to all that sort of
Not
stuff.
not at the. I'm probably a third of the way through getting all the characters unlocked.
Yep.
I just got like the 6th, and I think there's 13, but like the pace of it is obviously going to escalate. I'm going to have to work harder to get the later ones. They all play differently and really cool. But yes, I haven't had to really focus the synergies. I've kind of just like mainlined the characters I like their weapons most and are most effective with. But yeah, it does get
I have one more
serious.
genuine question.
Yep.
With the hot swapping still confused me a little bit. When you hot swap to another character in a little arena, are they just standing there and possibly
They're
going to die?
they're not on the map. They can't take damage.
Okay,
they're basically
cool,
like
cool.
whispering in your ear.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
And then you just hot swap to them when you might want to pick up the super, which is like a drop on picking up health and supers.
Yep.
Drops in the world, so you need to walk over to them to collect them. And maybe you want, in this instance, Casino's super, but you want to be running around to Spider Rosa to shoot. So you'll swap to Casino to pick up the super,
Gotcha.
and you'll swap back to Spider to do most of the damage, and then you'll use Casino's super.
I just meant there's no tactics in making sure that like one's not dying.
There
or
absolutely is. Like,
Well,
you know,
sorry,
you're
yeah.
taking feathered damage. You don't want them to die. If they get downed, you have to revive them, and that costs a resource. So you need to go and collect that resource.
Is
It's
it
not actually
hard?
beans.
Is it challenging?
Yeah, it's
Like,
not.
you've
It's
gotta-
not
you've gotta
easy.
pay attention
It's
to
not
all this
easy,
sort
and
of
the
stuff.
and
Go
the
deep with it.
yeah,
By
and
the
the
sounds of it.
totally, and the combat is like
cool.
the shooting is intentionally challenging. Like, your bullets don't go exactly where you intend them to. There's a little bit of spread. So if you aim down sight, you shoot more accurately. Some guns are shotgun spread. Some there's a lasso that does damage over time.
Ooh,
The longer you're holding it, the more damage it does as well. So it's good for single enemy
it's,
fights.
it's tight enough shooting, but it's not the focus, but it's tight enough that it feels like you've still got to be at a shooter.
You absolutely have to be decent at shooters
Yeah,
to
okay.
succeed at this, because there is a lot of the first person combat.
Yeah, cool.
How accessible is it if you've never played a roguelike before? Would you be able to jump into this and slowly work it out? Or is it really, this is for the fans of the genre?
I think it's for people who understand the genre. I would say the story and the characters help you get past that, and I would say it's not particularly punishing as a rogue light because of that. That it's like you just go back to kind of the last major story beat, so you
It's
don't
always
lose
depressing to go
everything.
all the way back. You know, some of them take so long to unlock that first shortcut room or door, right? And
Yeah.
if I don't get that in the first hour, I'm done with
Yeah.
it usually.
I think the whole. I mean, I love the aesthetic of it. I think and yeah, the game design of it is so interesting that it is just really compelling. You want to see what you're going to encounter next. Like, there's plenty of different environments to fight in. You get those new outlaws pretty quickly, so you're always playing with new toys and equipping different mods, and it always feels like there's something new, really
Good
close to
drip feed
reach.
as well. Then
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
gameplay, good drip feed of this
Yeah.
new
That's cool.
stuff, cool story.
'Cause I think that's always
Yeah.
something that people look for with these roguelites is like, is each run rewarding enough,
Yeah.
you know, to
Yeah.
kind of justify
Especially if you're
going on.
someone who usually wouldn't love this kind of game. Well, not love, but like as you said, these
Yeah,
things don't jump out at you,
it doesn't
so-
it doesn't on first appearance.
Yeah.
Super appeal to me, but as soon as I started playing, I was pretty engaged.
You are a
and
bit of a bastard.
I sure am.